All right, Lab Coat Agents, we've got Nick with us. Finally, Nick decided to show up again. Oh, my God.
Oh, I'm here. I got out of bed.
Tell me about it. And we've got a special guest here for Random Acts of Coaching number 4. It's Michael Maher, one of our favorite people. Every time Michael comes on, I cannot stop smiling like really big because this guy, just the energy this guy has. Not only is he one of the nicest guys we know, he's just full of energy. Dude, how do you maintain that energy?
Monster energy drinks.
Listen,
I told you, Nick, that's the secret.
Hold on. Wait, so you don't get up at like 3:30 in the morning and like do the journals and it's just Monster?
No, I do drink a Monster on occasion, but I'll tell you what, I'm just high on life. You know, when I run a business based on love, generosity, and appreciation. How cool is it to all day long I talk about, I live, I think about love, generosity, and appreciation. I mean, it's a golden. All I do is help people. I mean, I feel like I'm the Mother Teresa of real estate. You know, I seriously, I'm like, all I do is help people. All I do is help people. And what's really cool about working with realtors is they give you money for your wisdom, right? They give you, and the thing is when they give you that money, then they become accountable to like running their business with love, generosity, appreciation, and then boom, right? They go from 50,000 GCI to 507,000 GCI, right?
That's
so
true.
It's you know, I've found that in real estate, there's a lot of not just monetary reward, but there's a lot of intrinsic reward as well. You know, a lot of reward of feeling good because you're doing good.
That's very true. So, dude, let's get right into it, man.
Okay.
Tell us what you have planned for us today.
Nothing, dude. That's it. Let's go. No, I'm kidding. Of course I prepared for this because I prepare for everything. But I figured that I would show up, wear a lab coat, and we'd all be good. Is that not true?
It's done. You win.
Nice. I thought
win.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They always say, like, don't ever speak after someone who is smarter than you. Don't ever speak after someone who is better looking than you. Don't ever speak after someone who has more graphically appealing and pleasing graphics than you. And don't ever speak after somebody who has a better personality than you. Well, I'm doing all 4 of those with these 3 coaches that you've covered in the last 3 weeks. I'm speaking after all these brilliant, great looking, like awesome people. And I feel like, you know, thanks for putting me on the caboose. Right.
Dude.
Well, I got to say, everything you just said is why Tristan never speaks after me. So.
I love it. I can see a lot of that. I can see you having trouble with that, the both of you. Like, who speaks last, right? I mean, you're very good looking, very smart. It's just like, that's crazy.
Is that what this webinar is about? Complimenting our looks.
On that note, I'm going to start sharing the screen, right? If you're open to that, can I share the screen?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right, and we'll just have a conversation around what we're doing here.
Before we get into it, I just want to say one thing because, you know, your whole generosity generation, you know, referrals, you know, leading with kindness, everything that Tristan and I are all about. I just want to say that 63% of my business in 2017 came from past clients and referrals. Just want to put that out there.
What percentage?
63%.
53%. Now,
63.
let me ask you something.
60.
1 second. What percentage of time did you spend on repeat and referral business of your week? If you look at your week,
I mean the exact measurements I can't think of.
Yeah, who knows, right? Yeah,
the simple
1%.
Yeah, like a couple texts here and there, an email, a note card, a client appreciation party. I mean, it doesn't take up that much time.
That's right.
To say thank you to somebody.
Yeah, and it's one of those where it's like on average, we always hear repeat and referral business is between 57 and 80% of agents' business, especially as you get over 36 transactions. But we've interviewed them and go, okay, what percentage of your time, energy, effort, money go into repeat and referral business? It's always less than 10%. So it's like, what if you spent 20% of your weekly time on repeat and referral business, what do you think would happen? And a lot of people, well, I think I'd probably double my referrals. And what we've discovered is just by increasing your time, energy, effort, and awareness, just by 10%, what happens is you triple your referrals, you quadruple your referrals. Whoa. You actually get a compounding effect with that focus, right? Because really, you don't think about it at all. I mean, if you say you're doing 5, 6, 7%, less than 10%, it's like, really, I only think about it when I get a referral or when I run into someone. What if we were more purposeful and intentional and proactive with that communication and with that? And it's like, whoosh, right? So that's kind of what today's about, right?
Nice, man.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to share the screen again. And thanks for that. Thanks for that thought on that, because it really goes into why the heck do we do this, right? So we've got Kokoska, Helix, and Mills, and Maher, right? They saved the best for last. I'll just say, I mean, you know, I know they'd admit that. But this is called random acts of coaching. That's and right. I have to laugh about random. By the way, I know Kokoska, Helix, and Mills, and myself, like, we run into random acts of coaching. But we're speaking at the Lab Coach group. There's nothing random about that. If you saw Kokoska's freaking PowerPoint, you're like, that was not freaking random. He just gave us MREA 2 That's right. in 45 minutes. I mean, he really did. And it's like, what? Like, that's not random. What happened to random and spontaneous?
That was so true.
So I'm going to just totally redefine random. Random no longer means spontaneous. Here's what random means. It's an acronym. How about that shot? Look at that guy. Bam! Come on. Doesn't that just jump out of your screen and make you go kapow, right? So here's the deal. Random is totally new. It's an acronym. Listen, it's going to be referral. What's the first word that I always say? I wake up in the morning and I go, referrals, like that. I just wake up and referrals are tip of the tongue, right? So, of course, random is going to start with referrals, but referrals are normally dominant over marketing. Now, that's what I want you to remember, random. Now, please notice I use the word normally. I also thought about using the word naturally, but normally is a really good word because, so why do you think that referrals are normally dominant over marketing? Why do you guys think that referrals are normally, not always, but normally dominant over marketing? Why would that be?
Because the trust factor is already there. It's already established.
Say that again. I'm sorry, Tristan.
Oh, because the trust factor is already there. It's
so the sales cycle is shorter, which is what is this about, right? It's the amount of money you bring in a certain amount of time. That's productivity. That's what a company is all about. That's profit, right? Yeah. So you can make more money in less time, right? Because the trust is already there. The cycle's shorter, right? Why else are referrals normally dominant over marketing, do you think? Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, your biggest fans are people that you've already done business with. So, like you said, the ROI is going to be much higher. In fact, in many instances, there's going to be zero money spent just to reach out to a past client.
That's exactly right. The ROI is through the roof. You know, you're talking 0 to 10%, invested in it, and you're getting 100%. Here's the other thing is referrals typically don't commit commissionectomy on you, right? They're not looking to cut the commission right out of you. They pay, right? You know what referrals do? They buy, they sell, they invest, and they say yes, right? So it's one of those where it's an easier transaction as well. So it's dominant from a enjoyment standpoint, and it's dominant from a position of profit, right? So we need to remember that referrals are normally dominant over marketing. And this is also one way that I differ from the other three coaches that you've had on before, is a lot of them are talking about team building and building this big giant conglomerate business. Listen, you know what I help you with? Repeat and referral business. That's it. A lot of Helixson's clients, a lot of Buffini's clients, a lot of Ferry's clients, a lot of Bubba's clients are my clients too, right? Those teams have people, either them or a marketing assistant or what we call a referral manager, who they are taking our classes and they're learning from us on how to develop the database side of their business. So the bottom line is you don't have to be a client of one of the four. In many cases, some teams and some people are clients of multiple coaches that you've heard from on the Random Acts of Coaching. So the thing that is, I want to be your CRO, your Chief Referral Officer. That's what I want to be for everybody out there that wants to develop that part of their business, right? So I put in here, viewer discretion is advised. Nick and I talked about this a little bit before we came live, and it is one of those. It's like I'm going to tell the truth. I want you to know that when I was in the business in the beginning, I got started very discreetly in Kansas City. 6 months, I thought I was crazy for being in real estate, and then things started to turn around for me from the aspect of referrals. And I built a very quickly growing, my second year I did 87 transactions. My third year I did 187 transactions. I netted $1 million. I grossed $1.35 million in Kansas City. Wow. Kansas City, right? $147,000 average sales price in the marketplace. And then boom, we took off from there, over 250 transactions a year for 8 straight years, and over 500 referrals, 8 straight years, and over 600, 2 of those years. And then I went and studied what the referral people were teaching, right? And it was like what I discovered is that, okay, I wasn't doing a lot of what they were doing. I was doing some of their doing, but I was doing it a little differently. So it's one of those where what I'm about to share with you, I'm going to attack stories that have been passed on in sales, not just in real estate, but in sales for years. And I don't know if the word butthurt is appropriate for lab coach, but I don't want anybody to feel butthurt. But what I want is I want people to understand that you have you have gray matter between the 6 inches between your ears, and and that's not the most important part of what we need to learn. Is it's the red matter that's 6 inches next to our center of our chest, and that's our heart, right? So bottom line here is I am going to tell you some things that are mythological stories that have been passed down for 100 years in sales. So cool. So please know that if you are a teacher of this stuff and you've been teaching somebody else's stuff, that you may be insulted. And I don't mean to do that. I love you. God bless you for teaching. But the thing is guess what? There's a different way to do this. Now, I've been in Lab Coat Agents Group for a while now, and it's been one of those where I haven't spent as much time in there as I would have liked, right? I've been developing a business. We have a fantastic business, thank you, God. And the thing is what I've discovered over the last probably 6 months is there have been some lab rats that have gotten free in the Lab Coat group, and they have been like bullies, and they have been not under, and here's what's funny is they're probably doing less business than anybody they insulted, right? They're insecure, and that's what lab rats are. They should feel insecure. They don't have a great life, right? But the thing is listen, during this session and during my 6 months that I'm going to be in this coaching and we're partnering on this, is no lab rats allowed, right? If you're going to want to be a lab rat, get out. And in fact, I just want you to know, I feel so strongly about this, that I am going to express how I feel about it. This is a lab rat shirt, right there, bang. That is a lab rat. That is the lab. Hey, right here, red marker. No freaking lab rats.
Oh my God.
X out. You're gone. You're fired. No more lab rats. Be positive, people. Be nice to each other. What the heck is going on in there? Why does Tristan have to write like every week, or Nick has to write every week? Hey, everybody. I just thought I'd let you know that, this isn't the place to do recruiting, and this isn't the place to talk commission, and this isn't the place for lab rats. So no lab rats. And I will tell you that I've worked in labs. I've worked in doctor labs, physician labs. I've worked in chemical labs, and I've worked in school. I did physics labs, right? So the lab rats are the lowest, right? So if there's a low, there must be a high. And the thing here is you're busted, lab rats. Get the heck out.
That's right.
Be a catalyst. What is the highest thing in a lab? It is a catalyst. A catalyst, especially a positive catalyst, is the thing that makes things happen. Otherwise, water or whatever it may be is just sitting there. If you've ever seen Mentos added to a Diet Coke 2-liter, it goes whoosh. Well, the Mentos was the catalyst, right? So be a catalyst, be positive, helpful, be of a helpful nature in the group, right? No more lab rats, be a catalyst. So that's
hashtag no lab rats, dude. That's what we're gonna use. Hashtag no.
You got to. And you know what? When somebody else sees somebody, don't comment on their above, because it's just argument. And a lot of people just wake up in the morning looking for an argument. Don't just hashtag no lab rats. And what I hope is they get the picture, because
we're gonna do that, man. We're gonna do that.
Let's do it, right? So my primary position at ReferCo is CEO, but really the primary position for me in life is dad and husband. And I help people build a lifestyle that other people who their primary role is not realtor, right? Their primary role is not loan officer. It is father or mother, and it is spouse, right? And not necessarily in that order, right? So this is a big deal for me, because this is really like, how do you want to be remembered, right? How do you want to be remembered? Do you be on your tombstone? Do you want 2012 sales leader, right? Number 1 in the office, 2012, right? You don't want that, right? What you want is loving father and husband, loving friend, fantastic friend, right? Generous, appreciative, and loving individual, whatever it may be. So now, we're going to jump right into this, right? So this is something that I have seen, unfortunately, used and abused. And here's the thing, right? So these are sales statistics from National Sales Executive Association. It says 48% of salespeople never follow up. 25% make a second contact. 12% make 3 contacts. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts, right? Now, on the other side also says 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% on the second, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and a full 80% of sales are made on the 5th through 12th contact, right? Have you guys seen those stats before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So any thoughts on them? Anything going on there? Okay, good. That's good. You know why? Wow. Is because there is no such thing as the National Sales Executive Association. How many of you guys have seen these stats quoted in a presentation or online, and maybe even seen this exact graphic online? You seen that?
I've actually seen 48 to 50% of internet leads never get a single response. So that one's pretty accurate, though.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is this is 100% fabricated. There's no study that's ever been done, and there is no such thing.
Completely wrong in saying that. But
no, yeah.
You know what it is? You know what it is? So I think there's different CRMs out there that use their statistics, right? So like Follow Up Boss will say X amount of leads never get a single touch, but there's not like one main source to go to, you know?
Well, here's the thing though. There are accurate statistics out there on, like, one accurate statistic that I have seen quoted and people have tested is how quickly to get back to like an internet lead, right? And it's 5 minutes or less, right? Yeah. It's been practiced. We have lots of research. We have a lot of data on speed to response wins, right? So, but here's the thing. These have been quoted all over the place. And by the way, these have been quoted to typically sell you a CRM or sell you a follow-up system of some sort, right? But here's the thing. It's 100% a myth, right? It's a myth. All these stats were made up. There is no study that, and how do I know that? Well, I researched it for a presentation that I wanted to do, right? And I discovered like there were thousands of presentations with this information in it, and they never even thought to maybe, hey, should we check and see if the data is accurate? It sounds accurate. It sounds like it might be true, but the truth is it's not true. And especially in a real estate world, right? The real estate world is, do you know how many real estate agents a person speaks to before choosing their real estate agent? Do you know what the highest number of agent they will speak to is?
What is it?
Do you know what the typical number is?
One.
83% speak to one agent before choosing their agent. That's a lot.
That before.
Right? That is a lot. So the fact is we should have been a little maybe suspicious of these numbers anyway, but we're going to keep going. All right. So success is not a 180-degree turn. Success is a 1-degree tweak. In real estate, we see too often that, you get an idea and it's like, great. And then somebody else presents an idea and we go, oh, that's great too. And then we have another idea. And And we get into these 180-degree turns, right? And the problem with taking 180-degree turns is we end up running in a circle, right? And we've seen realtors like that. We've seen business owners like that. But what success is a 1-degree tweak. And today what I want to do is I'm not gonna give anybody a 180-degree turn. I don't want to do that. What I want to do today is I just want to change people's mind maybe 1 degree, like a 1-degree tweak, right? So how do I do that? We're going to dispel 4 quantity myths and 1 hope myth, right? So the quantity myths we're going to talk about, it's a numbers game. Bigger equals better when it comes to database. There's a magical number of touches. Stay top of mind with everyone. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the hope myth, right? Which is referrals happen by accident. Oops, I'll go back a second. So the 1-degree tweak that I want to make with the first 4 is I want the agents and the people that hear this to consider changing from a quantity mindset to a quality mindset. If the word bulk or mass or blast comes out of your mouth, catch it and then throw it in the trash. Because if you're doing it mass or blast or bulk, it's not going to work on today's people. People want personalized and customized, right? So, and then we're going to talk about the hope myth, which is, hope is not a strategy. We're going to talk about how do you go from hope to faith with what you want to do, right? So I'm going to jump right into it. Nick, Tristan, don't hesitate. Yep. Raise your hand and shoot in and jump in when you need to, right? So myth number 1, it's a numbers game, right? You've all been told this. We've all been told in sales that it's a numbers game. But here's the truth, right? It's a relationships game. And we've heard that. And we've heard people from stage who go, it's a relationships game. And then you're like, okay, I know it's a relationship game, but give me something to do, right? So let's first of all, let's talk about how can you, like you guys have heard of pickup lines, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny is this guy, Scott, has a great video on the internet about like his pickup line. He has one of the greatest pickup lines of any. He goes up to these beautiful women and he has this one pickup line that instantly reframes the whole relationship. And he ends up dating these models, these knockout women. And his pickup line is, "Hi, this is Scott," or "Hi, my name's Scott." That's his pickup line, right? Now, notice that is probably different than a lot of things these women have probably heard over the years. And we go, wow, can it be really that simple? But I have to tell you is we need to understand there's something called framing of a relationship. And in fact, it's even to the point where if somebody calls you on the phone, you see their name, you see their number, you instantly have a reaction in your body. Yeah. It's either repulsed or it is, oh man, or it's neutral. It could be them asking for something, or it could be something good. Or we have that one that's like, oh my gosh, I'm answering that phone because I know it's going to be positive or friendly or an opportunity or maybe even a referral, right? So that's the frame. The frame of the relationship is this residue feeling. And what I've discovered is that we can create a positive residue, a positive feeling around every interaction that we ever have with one sentence. And it's actually a question. So the question, or the script of the day, if you will, is how do I make this the biggest win for you, right? So when you meet with a seller, you say, how do I make this sale the biggest win for you? Or when you're on the phone, right? You say, how do I make this call the biggest win for you? When you are at an appointment with a buyer, it's like, all right, how do I make today's showings the biggest win for you? And first of all, they may have to pick themselves up off the floor because you go instantly from a commission breath salesperson to, guess what? Somebody who is there to help, somebody who is there. I mean, who's the win for? Right? It's for them, right? Yeah. So what I've discovered is if you make it about them, you both win. And we all know that listen, when they win, when they get their home, then we all win. And that's what it really is about. So don't worry.
It's interesting. I like that. I like this topic because so many agents go into an appointment and, they're like, I've sold this many homes. I've ranked this in my area and this is my volume and blah, 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 blah. I'll be honest with you. I go into a listing appointment. I don't even talk about that stuff. I don't even bring up my past sales. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, they don't even ask. Yeah. Because you got to focus it on them. They don't care. They just want to know how you're going to get their home sold.
Well, what we want to do is we want to show our competence. But what's funny is that as you graduate through the competence ladder, as you get more and more competent, the less you speak about yourself and the more questions you ask about them. So when you're asking questions to them, you actually are showing the highest level of competence. The most insecure people talk about themselves. They talk about their marketing. They try to sell themselves, right? The most competent people they go in without an iPad. They go in without a book. They go in and you know what? They really are in tune with what the other person wants. And guess what? I mean, what does a doctor do? Right? A doctor comes into the room. Do they even look at the chart sometimes? I mean, they don't even look at the chart. They go, where are you feeling it? How are you feeling it? They check a few things and then they prescribe a medicine in 15 minutes, right? Why can't we as realtors do the same thing? Right?
Very true.
It's power questions. All right. So myth number 2. This is a myth that has been handed down for years, and that is a bigger database equals bigger results. Just add 50 people to your database this month. Add 250 people this year. You know, why not just buy a list of 1 million people and drop it in your database? Right? You know, so it's like, and here's the other thing, right? If I wanted to sell a lot of, let's say I wanted to sell a lot of books, right? A lot of books. Mm-hmm. So which is better, a database of 20,000 or a database of 1 person? Which is going to be better for me to sell a lot of books?
That's a trick question.
It is. So what's tricky about it?
Because you don't necessarily more people doesn't equal more business or more money. Like, yeah. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. The more people, okay, so the more people you are sending emails and text messages to, that doesn't necessarily mean that way to anything. Because are those 20,000 people meaningful relationships? You only need a meaningful relationship to like, you know, spread the word about you type of thing. You know, word of mouth is very powerful. So that's what I mean by that.
Okay. So here's the big thing, right? You're exactly right. Is it depends on who the one is.
Well, right? That's true. It depends on the one.
If the one is Oprah, which of the 2 databases wins? Right?
Oprah.
The Oprah wins. By the way, Oprah just wins, right? I mean, period. whatever game you're playing, Oprah has won it and she wins it. So just
if
anytime
she opens the email,
yeah. Well, here's the thing. If she's in your database and you have a relationship with her, Oprah is definitely. So here's the thing, right? So it's not bigger database equals bigger results. It's better database equals better results. The better people in your database, the better your results will be, right? And we need a strategy, what we call Operation Database Upgrade, to influence and to network with more powerful people. And what we've discovered is it doesn't matter how many people you have in your database. What really matters is your top 150. That's it. If all you get from what I'm sharing with you, and just so you know, I'm sharing, this is one of the epiphanies that I got from my research and going through studying on how do you get referrals and what is Dunbar's number. Professor Robin Dunbar, he's a professor out of the United Kingdom, has discovered, he's a neurosurgeon, right? Smart dude, smarter than me. He has discovered that the size of our neocortex, and the neocortex is essentially the part of our brain that makes us human, right? Every animal has all the other parts except for the neocortex, right? All the other mammals. So the size of our neocortex only allows us to think about, to be aware of, and to have this residue of relationships with 150 people. We can only have relationships with 150 people. And we're talking residue relationships. You can just, otherwise you can't think of everybody. That's the problem with today's world is we have Facebook with 5,000 friends. We get in front of a lot of people and we're like, we feel a little guilty that we're not building relationships with everyone. Well, the truth is you can't, right? So the key here is build a 150 person community, right? It's 150 people or less. So if you have a database of 2,000, you know what? Don't worry about the 2,000. You can do some stuff with the 2,000. But what we really need to do is focus on 150. So identify your 150, build a 150 person community, right? So Myth number 3 is you should touch your database a certain amount of times. Yep, I'm going there. I've heard the following touch programs. I've heard 12. I have heard 24. I have heard 33. I have heard 36. I have heard 52. And I have friends, I have seen 104 touch programs. 104 touch programs. Yes, wow. That is taught out there. But I want you to know is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many touches there are. There's no magic number. Here's the truth. The truth is that the quality of the touches, not the quantity. A phone call is a more powerful touch than an email, right? So here's the deal, the teaching point. Here's the bad news, right? If it's an email or a postcard, it doesn't count as a touch. You can't count it. If you have a 36 touch program and 24 of them are emails and 12 are postcards, you don't have a touch program. That's it. Just because you said, what's the open rate on email? Like 12%? What's
Yes,
the open rate on a postcard? It's less than 1%, right? So what you're really saying is you are not touching 100% of the people I'm sending this to, right? So, and here's the worst thing is just because you sent it doesn't mean they got it, and this is the generosity generation, right? Today's world, they want to feel it. They want to feel it, right? So the bad news is if it's an email or postcard, it doesn't count. The good news is one phone call overcomes a full year of what's called perceived indifference. One phone call is more powerful than 100 emails and 100 postcards combined, right? One phone call. All right. Myth number 4, stay top of mind with everyone. You guys ever heard of that? Like stay top of mind with everyone, right?
How do you
stay
do
top
that?
Of mind. Yeah, exactly. Well, you shouldn't, right? Myth. Bang, right there. So here, the fact is you're not going to be top of mind with everyone. It is impossible. And in many cases, you're spending a lot of time, energy, effort, and money to try to be top of mind with people who will never have you. There are people who will never refer you. You could walk on water. You could turn water to wine, and they would not refer you. You know what I'm saying right there? Yeah. Yes? Right? So each person in your database provides a different value to your business. So we need to identify, like if we have someone who is giving us 0 referrals a year for 9 straight years, how much time should we spend on that person, right? Very little or none. Now, if we have someone who has given us 9 referrals over 9 years, or let's say 49 referrals over 9 years, those people should get more time, energy, effort, and money from us. Would you agree?
100%, man. Yeah.
So we need to grade our database with one criteria. Why do you even have a database? Why do we have a CRM? Right? A lot of people say, well, we have a CRM to build relationships. Okay. Why do you want to build relationships? Do you really care? Right? So why do you want to build relationships? Well, I mean, I want to stay top. Okay. Why do you want to stay top of mind? So that they'll know about me. So why do you want them to know about you? Okay. So they're like, and finally we get down to it. Why do you have a database? To get repeat and referral business. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right. So we should grade our database on one criteria, and that is referrals. Those who give you referrals should be graded higher, and those who don't give you referrals should be graded lower. And I will tell you that there is a really powerful question on getting referrals. And this is what we call a quality qualifying question. This is a question that by asking the people you run into, if you asked all your database this question, which I do suggest, just what are your goals? And a great time to ask that is today. A great time to ask that is this week. Hey, listen, we haven't really talked about this much before, but what are your goals? Like, what are your goals for this year? What are your goals for this month? What are your goals for your life? Whatever. Just get into this goal, that's a highly intellectual question, right? That's a great conversation piece. But here's the thing. Those who have goals are better referral sources. If they don't have goals, they are not going to be great referral sources. And now, are there exceptions to the rule? The answer is yes. But are you going to invest your hard-earned time, energy, effort, money into the exception or into the rule? And what we've discovered is, listen, you're going to run into people who have goals, and they are the ones that tend to be the better referral sources. Here's the other benefit of asking this question, is that not only are they the better referral sources, but also is they're going to ask you back, what are your goals? Those who have goals are also willing to have a conversation around goals. And your goal, one of your goals, should be a referral goal, right? It's like, my referral goal is to get 100 referrals in a year or whatever it may be. Now, my personal teaching on that is that my weekly referral goal is to give 10 referrals and receive 5 referrals, right? My weekly referral goal is to give 10 referrals and receive 5 referrals. So the other thing about when you say, hey, what are your goals? And they answer you, is that you are now able to help them at the highest level. Yes, right? You are now, they tell you their goal, and then you help them achieve that goal. Then guess what? You have added value to their life, and they're going to want to reciprocate. So a very, very powerful question is, what are your goals, right? So those are the 4, what I call the quantity myths. And throughout the next 6 months, I'm going to share this 7-step series on dispelling myths and these absolute or these shocking truths, and a teaching point from each one. And I'm going to do that for the next 6 months and really just dispel some of these myths that have been kind of purveyed and told over the years. So we know that the 1 degree tweak is we need to go from quantity to quality. Quality questions lead to quality conversations. Quality touches will lead to quality relationships and referrals. Quality people, like Oprah, will lead you to quality referrals. And the question is that I have for everybody who's watching this now is, who's your Oprah? Who is your Oprah? Who in your database is that most influential person who is impacting you in the biggest way? And you need to thank them either by email or a phone call or a handwritten note, whatever it may be. You need to reach out to your Oprah, but that's not the only thing we can learn from Oprah. The other part of Oprah is, who are you being an Oprah to? Who are you being an influencer for? Who are you helping in a way that Oprah could help you? Who is your Oprah, and who are you an Oprah to? The last myth that I want to cover. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying that's a solid question right there.
Yeah, thanks. And that, that's a big difference maker, and they need your attention, right? So myth number 5 is the last one, and this is referrals happen by accident, right? And too often people think that these referrals they just come out of the blue, or they come out of left field, or they happen by accident. But the truth is, there is no such thing as a referral by accident. There isn't. You did something back in your life, somewhere in your history, you did something. Most likely, it was a very positive thing, like a nice word on a bad day, or praise when they really needed to hear it, or you help someone achieve a goal, or you help someone overcome a challenge, or you help someone enjoy their life more. You did something. You practiced proactive generosity. You pushed a positive domino. Those dominoes are falling, being catalyst out in the universe, bouncing into each other, and you're living your life. And then on the day the referral, the domino, fell into your lap, guess what? You made that happen. You earned that. So the fact is guess what? Referrals don't happen by accident. Referrals, ladies and gentlemen, are orchestrated. You can make referrals happen, right? So how do we do that? Well, I'm just gonna throw this out there that guess what? If there was $1 million briefcase out there on a porch with your name on it, how hard would you go get it? If somebody just told you, hey, there's $1 million briefcase on a porch somewhere in the world, go get it, right? And you would probably give up after 5 or 6 porches. You might check your porch and go back to go to bed, or whatever. But why don't you go full on to get your briefcase? Well, it's because you don't know where it's at, right? But let me ask you this: if I gave you an address, and I gave you a map, and I gave you a GPS, how much different would your mindset be when it comes to going for that $1 million briefcase?
It would change.
All of a sudden it goes up.
Yeah. Would you drive all night?
Probably.
Yeah. If you came into detours, would you work your way around the detours, or would you just give up and go back home?
Work my way around them.
You work your way around it, right? And you would probably drive all night and drive all day. And people would say, wow, who's that crazy guy driving all night and all day? And you know what? There's people in your office who are looking at you two and looked at me and look at top producers and they go, oh my gosh, that crazy person, they're so driven. They're so driven. They're going so much. And why are we driven so much? Is because we have a map, right? The map matters. We have goals. We have things we want to achieve. And I will tell you that everybody here listening has a choice, right? Right now, they have a choice. Some people started this year with no business plan. And you know what? You have no business being in this business without having a business plan, right? So the first thing is you have two choices. You have three choices really, but one choice is you could do nothing. The second choice is you have no business plan. So you might go, you know what? I really know that I need to have a business plan, but I'm not going to do it, right? There's those people, right? Now you know, right? There's people that didn't know you should have a business plan. Now everybody here knows that you should have a business plan. And if you choose not to do it, then you choose not to do it. And here's the thing. I have a message for those people. You know what? Don't get in the way. Don't get in the way of us that have plans, right? Don't make fun of us. Don't point at us. Don't just, you know what? Ignore us because you know what? You had a choice. And don't make fun of us because we're driven. What we're doing is we're going after $1 million briefcase. So just stay out of the way. Don't belittle us. Don't snark. Don't be elaborate, right? Now, the third group of people is most of the people on here and that is, you know what? Get a map, get a business plan. And if you don't have a business plan, borrow mine. I will give you my $1 million business plan. No problem, right? So the bottom line is you need to have a map. You need to have a plan. You know, get a coach to help you out. Get somebody, a guide on the side. And base your plan on love, generosity, and appreciation and partner with someone to help you put it into play. And I want to be that person. I want to apply for the chief referral officer or chief database officer for your team, right? And what does that look like? Well, first of all, Nick, Tristan, I know we're running to the last 7 to 10 minutes here, right? Yeah. So what, you know, first of all, what was an aha that you got out of today so far?
I think that for me, what stood out was 150.
Yeah.
So often, actually, it's the first time, I'm pretty sure you've said it before, but I hadn't heard it. And so 150 to me was, when you said it, was like, oh, it makes sense because you're telling me it's all about the quality. And you're right. I can look into my database and find, I think, like the top 100 who continually refer. And you're right. Why am I spending my time with the rest of them when I could really focus in on this 100 that's so good? And I'm thinking the same thing. Nick and I were texting while you were talking there because that was such a big aha that we thought, well, we could technically do this with lab coat agents too. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe increase it from 150, right? But still have a good chunk where, you know, this is our core and grow from there. So dude, that was, to us, that was huge.
There are a top 150 within lab coat agents. There are top 150. There are people who have added hundreds, maybe thousands to your group, right? Yeah. There are people who have more influence. And like in a clientele standpoint is, you know, I have a doctor who has only referred me one person, but that person they bought a $1.425 million house, right? So that doctor's in my top 150 that he may not refer very often. And by the way, his house was a $1.3 million house. You know, in Kansas City, you can literally like buy a city for 1.2 million, right? I mean, it's like you don't even buy a house. You go, I want Gardner, the whole city. And they're like, oh, for 1.2, it's yours, right? So okay, I'm kidding a little bit. But the thing is that it's one of those where, you know, that 150 doesn't necessarily have to be these people who are giving you 9 a year or 10 a year or 20 a year. It can just be really good people who are influential and affluent, right? So the other thing too is there is a top 150 within the lab coat agents, and I encourage you to identify those top 150 and get into communication with who they are. You've already done it with 4. You've done it with Michael and Sean and Bubba and myself, right? So it's one of those where, you know, get into communication around that.
That's very true, man. Well, that was a huge aha for us.
Thanks.
Well,
Nick,
one of the things for me was, everyone talks about staying top of mind, and we all try to stay top of mind with everybody we can possibly imagine. And it gets tiring to do that. There's a phrase that I like, be one place a lot, not everywhere a little, right?
Yeah.
And as simple as that phrase is, it really means like so much more. I mean, we're all trying to get as many clients as we can and be in front of as many people as possible. We want to be the go-to, right? But the 150 most valuable people should be the only ones that you really care about on a regular basis.
And not only that, but you start remembering things about them that you could never remember before, like their birthdays, like their spouse's name, like their spouse's birthday, like how many kids they have, their kids' names, their kids' birthdays. It's amazing what you start to remember, or what I started to remember when I got into relationship with the vital few instead of the many, right? So it really, there's a good book out there called The Vital Few, which talks about a similar thought. And I put it into 7L. I took the thoughts of Vital Few and incorporated them into 7L along with about 2,000 other books. But I want to make sure I talk about Accelerate, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, go for it.
And then I want, because it starts April 2nd, right? So we start in a week, and we don't give Accelerate again until August, right? So this is kind of the last chance for a while for people to take our 30. Basically, it's 4 months of coaching in 1 month. And I also want to answer questions. So if people are on live right now, I can't see necessarily, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can see it on Facebook.
And this is a good time. And by the way, for the first 5 people who have questions, I will ship them a book, right, at my cost, and it will be a hardcover book, and I will get that out to them. So the first 5 questions, and then I'll answer those. So bottom line is Dave Ramsey's a big fan. He thinks you should take Accelerate, right? Gary Keller's a big fan. He thinks you should take Accelerate. So bottom line, so what is Accelerate? That's the number one question I get a lot. It's the most requested training program we offer. There were 31 people who signed up this morning for Accelerate, right? So it's one of those where this is people come into this often, right? We had 18 over the weekend, right? Everybody was kind of busy, but it's one of those where it's a simple and powerful step-by-step coaching through 7L. Listen, you're not signing up with us for a year. This is 4 months of coaching in 1 month, right? So we're going to focus on your database and your sphere of influence. It's a group setting, so you'll get to share your struggles and your successes in a team environment, group environment. You're going to unlock your potential and the potential of your database. And honestly, how much is one referral worth to you, right? If you got one referral in the next month because of one strategy, what would that be worth to you? Probably thousands. And I'm going to tell you something. This class is not thousands. You're not going to have to pay thousands to take it. The results are guaranteed, and it starts April 2nd.
Is there a link? Someone's asking.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you in just a second. Thanks, okay. Tristan. It's fasterreferrals.com, right? Because everybody wants faster referrals. So so quote, we had awesome, intense 4 months of coaching in 1 month. And so it's 8 live sessions, and then it's 4 bonus sessions, which is to answer your questions and to help you implement, right? So Monday, it's a quick 30-minute session. Wednesday, it's optional, right? But take advantage of that. Friday is a 30-minute session, and then the next week, Monday and Friday. So notice that we are bookending the week. Monday, we say, hey, do this. By Friday, it's like, how did it go? What can we help you do? If you haven't got it done yet, here's a little push. If you did it, high five, and let's keep moving, right? Get more referrals in less time, and then what's next? Congratulations, you win. It's a very powerful class. It's intense though. It's intense. If you're not ready for it, and you're not ready for it. The way to get it is to go to fasterreferrals.com. And here's the thing. I'm not offering anybody to buy anything right now. All you're doing to go to fasterreferrals.com is you are going to sign up for the explanatory webinar. And on the webinar, we're going to give you more great content and strategies, and we will explain Accelerate so that you can take it, right? So Brandon Nilsson, he basically was making $50,000 a month when he came to us. That's fantastic.
Wow.
He is making over $200,000 a month right now. No, not 200 a year, 200,000 a month, right? So Accelerate is an awesome deep dive into Michael J. Maher's treasure trove of effective ideas and action plans. Be prepared to drink from the fire hose. Do the homework, and then stay connected to Michael and what he's teaching, writing, and supporting. No one class is going to transform your business, but if you make what is taught into habits and keep studying more of it, that will transform your business and your life. And I couldn't have said it better myself, right? So it's fasterreferrals.com, and I hope you do it. So that's it. I mean, no sales pitch, no nothing. Amazing. But I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, some of you, it's less than $500, right? To get 4 months of coaching in 1 month, it's less than $500. And if you watch the webinar, you can save a couple hundred, even more than that. So there you go.
That's amazing. So you're going to get, and you're also going to send a copy of which book to anyone who asks some questions. Which book?
It's the 7 Levels of Communication, right? So we're in real estate here. This is the #1 book in the real estate sales category on Amazon for almost 8 straight years, right? And you might think, well, good for you, Michael. Well, it has been. But the thing is that I'm not buying the books, right? I'm not buying it. What's powerful about this is, listen, we've been in the top 4,000 books on Amazon for almost 8 straight years, right? And how many books are on Amazon? Millions, right? So #1 in the real estate sales category for almost 8 straight years, entirely through referral, gentlemen. No marketing, no advertising, no promotion, no giant lists, right? 100% word of mouth and referral. People like you, honestly, Tristan, I have to thank you personally. You've been very instrumental in selling a lot of these books. So thank you. And Nick, I know we're developing our relationship, and you'll catch up to Tristan very soon.
Well, Michael, I need a phone call every now and again.
Yeah. You go first.
I need a text message,
All right.
Maybe a hug.
Sweet.
Oh, Michael, I have questions here.
Yeah.
How does your coaching work? Not the referral, faster referrals one, but your regular coaching. How does that work?
So let me put it this way, right? Is that a question from you, or is that a question from the live?
That's
audience?
a question from the audience.
Okay. So here's my thought. My suggestion is to take Accelerate, right? You don't need, what is a coaching relationship, right? It's like getting married. Yes. Right.
Yep.
So it's like, let's go on a date first. Let's do Accelerate, right? You do it. And that's my honest to goodness suggestion with anybody that is interested is listen, we can explain our one, but you know what? We have coaching clients who have been with us 5, 6, 7 years, right? Why is that? Because we went into the relationship the right way. We didn't oversell them. We didn't say, all these different things to tell you how much we're better than other people. You know what we did is we were truthful, and we just said, hey, listen, and so my thought is, listen, take Accelerate. If you read 7L and you take Accelerate and you like what you hear and you like the results you get, then let's talk about a longer term relationship. But the beautiful thing I love about Accelerate is it gives people exposure to building their business by love, generosity, and appreciation, taught by people who are loving, generous, and appreciative, and who are doing, millions of dollars in business every year. So that's I would love to explain it, but you know what? It's one of those, experience it, and then I'll explain it.
Awesome.
I love it. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up.
Who was that? If they'll post, here's the deal. I'll go back, check the video, and if they'll put their address in there, I will get them a book out to them.
Dude, I'll send that over to you. There's a couple more questions. I'll send them over to you. We're going to wrap up. What we're going to do are 2 things, though. We're going to repeat this, right? We're going to edit it, and we're going to blast it out.
Okay.
We're also going to use highlight reels of this, and we're going to blast that one out too on the back end, and also email it too. So anything you want to add in wraps? Because we're going to also post your link to faster referrals on a separate post as well. So
okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And the thing about the reason I really want to talk about faster referrals is because it starts on April 2nd, and we don't teach it again until August, right? So it's like this is kind of a last chance type of scenario, and that's no BS. That's all truth. So the last thing I want to say is just you guys remember Britney Spears?
Yeah.
And Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened to them a few years ago?
They went a little nutty?
Yeah, they went a little nutty. They went on what I would consider like a downward spiral, a very public downward spiral. And here's the thing that a lot of people didn't know is Charlie Sheen had the #1 show on TV called 2.5 Men. Britney Spears had the #1 album out in the public, right? And what happened is they got the #1, and that's what they were really striving for. And they quit doing something that made them successful, right? And when they quit doing that, they went on this downward spiral of life. Well, if there's a downward spiral of life, there must be an upward spiral of life. And I want you to imagine like a spiral staircase to heaven. Yes, I just said that, stairway to heaven. That's right, playing in the back of your head right now. But here's the thing, there is an upward spiral of life. And I started this with an acronym, RANDOM. Referrals are normally dominant over marketing. No longer are we going to consider random spontaneous. We're going to consider it just a message about referrals. But here's the thing. There is an upward spiral of life. And I want you to imagine this staircase. And I want you to imagine on the first step, there is a letter. And that letter is L. And L is for learn. Learn. So learn. And today, I hope people learn something. And during the coaching session, these random acts of coaching about referrals, that we're going to learn, right? And you're going to learn something. But I want you to know we need to take the next step, right? If we just drop off the next step, then it's not good. We need to take the next step, and luckily it starts with the letter I, and the next step is implement. We now need to implement. Like you need to create your 150, right? Out of lab coat. You know the agents, right? You know your roster. Yeah, and then learn, implement. And learning without implementation is merely entertainment. Right? If you're here to be entertained, great. That's awesome. But listen, where you're going to get the value, when you're going to get on the upward spiral of life is learn, implement. And then the third letter has an F. And this surprises many people. But guess what? The F is for fail. Fail. Yes, that's right. Failing is part of life. Are you going to implement what you do perfectly? The answer is absolutely not. You're not going to do it perfectly no matter what it is. You are going to fail at some level. Now, once you have failed, then you need to take the next step, which is E. We need to stop on the fourth step just for a second. And on the fourth step, it has E for evaluate. We need to evaluate what we just learned, implemented, and failed at. Does it align with our values? Does it feel good? Does it feel right in our heart? Does it help us achieve our goals? Does it help us live a legacy, right? Yeah. Now, once we evaluate, we need to then take the fifth step. We need to take the next step. The next step has another L on it, and that is for learn. But I want you to note that you are now learning at a higher level. When you implement, you will be implementing at a higher level. When you fail, you will be failing at a higher level. And when you evaluate, you're going to be able to evaluate so much better because you've got a couple cycles of learn, implementing, and failing behind you. And repeat, L-I-F-E, L-I-F-E, all the way to the top, all the way to the success that you want. Learn, implement, fail, evaluate, get on the upward spiral of life. Take something you learned today, put it into play today, and realize that you're going to fail in some way today. And then evaluate. Does it feel good to learn and implement it? And if it does, keep going. Keep learning, implementing, failing, evaluating.
I love that, dude. Thank you so much, Michael.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it, man. I'll post that link up there, and then let me know if you have questions. Thanks, everyone.